Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Super Bowl Not So Super Prepared Mind Show. It's the Sunday Night Live. And here we are. I don't give a shit about the Super Bowl. I don't. In fact, I quit really caring about football during the Snow Bowl when the Raiders were in New England to play the Patriots, and they had the tuck rule fumble with Tom Brady. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with football giving a shit. And then I just watched it recreationally, not really caring who won or anything else, not attaching my heart and my love and my identity to a uniform. And then came Colin Kaepernick, that Afro-having piece of shit, anti-American scumbag. It doesn't matter. I mean, he could have been a non-Afro. He could have been bald. He could have had hair like this. I don't care. He could have had the Wesley Snipes haircut from Demolition Man. I don't care. But he just happened to have that big stupid afro of his. Didn't like him. And then the ultimate, screw the entire business of sports entertainment with the St. George Floyd take a knee, fuck America routine. That was it. So, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people want to tune in and watch Kid Rock and support Kid Rock, but I can't support TPUSA. I can't support a woman who says, it's really bad that my husband died, but it really makes me sad when people don't like Israel. It's like, what? Fucking what? And then watching her put fake tears in her eyes right before she goes on stage so she can then squint and daub them out and make it look like she was crying. Or 3 or 4, however many days it was, just less, it was a handful or less of days after Charlie was assassinated, that she was in a Zoom call, and it's been released, where she's laughing and smiling, looking like a real grieving widow, because she was making tons of money on Charlie just died merchandising. Horrifying. Not to mention the silencing anyone that has their own opinion about what happened, censoring TPUSA workers. It's like, what? Really? That's what we're doing? That's how we play this game? And then bringing in a Zionist bullshit preacher. That was fucking off the charts stupid. What else did the dumb bitch do? I mean, just everything you can to absolutely disgrace your deceased husband. Like, I don't know, maybe start dating your ex-boyfriend you had before Charlie. Yeah, that really shows a lot of deep-seated love. I mean, I guess, a lot of people grieve differently than maybe I would expect them to, Maybe we should just accept that some people, when they're grieving, they want a strange dick. Or when they're grieving, money replaces the love of your life. Something like that. Am I doing that? Am I covering everything here, Mr. Uman? Okay. Anyways, I wanted to steal that one, the whole commentary about the Super Bowl halftime. And I want to move right on to Darcy T. And she's done a $50 PayPal super chat donation. And she does it every week. And she supports this program, not because I'm a genius, not because Uman's a genius, but because the message is the genius. Free speech is genius. Being able to share our opinions, and then we all get to decide what we individually want to believe. And there's no way anyone can tell anyone else, you have to believe this or we're going to fucking destroy you. Cheers to you, Darcy T. Salut, Semper Fi, and down the hatch. Oh, Glenn Fiddick, 18. And that is how we're going to kick off the show. Darcy T says she got some laptop issues. No questions tonight. Basically, we're going to leave the topic up to me. It's your show, though, folks. You guys are the one in charge of all the content. Yeah, some of the wild opinions might be mine, or I might be sharing other people's opinions that I read. But you, by hitting that super chat button right up there, or down below in the video description is a link to PayPal, a link to Cash App, and a link to Venmo. Those are other ways. For example, every week, Darcy does PayPal. Every week, Chin Music does Venmo. And a couple of you guys, you just mix it all up and all crazy in there. You got, Chelsea and husband, they do it one way, and Bonnie Blue does another, and Robin does another. And well, it's crazy. It's crazy, I tell you. We got Boomer. We got everybody. We got Blue Cord. We got everybody out there. Now, I can't remember everybody. Woo, boy, do I have a lot of topics that I have picked out. But I want to know what you're thinking about. It is February 8th. There was a prediction out there that there was going to be a serious Super Bowl terrorist attack. Is it going to happen? Ooh, man, you'll let me know, right? If something crazy happens, like, I don't know, a fucking mushroom cloud over the stadium. I don't even know where the hell they're playing the Super Bowl this year. It's probably at one of those stadiums. Who cares? The game is ridiculous. It's a setup. In fact, get this. The Epstein files. Buried in those Epstein files is some comments between someone else who's an Israeli and Epstein, who's an Israeli, talking about how they need to get the right teams into the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Let's just manipulate the game. I'm pretty sure I read that. Pretty sure I was like, one more reason not to give a fuck about this. All it is bread and circus, Coliseum, feed Christians to the lions. Oh, they'd love to have that one, right? That's right. Feed the Christians to the lions. Imagine that shit. Anyways, Darcy, thank you for that super chat donation. And coming out the gate again, oh my goodness. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. I've got a bourbon whiskey here from Maestries, which is way over on the coast. Hang on to that thought, Mr. Uman. Way over on the coast somewhere. It's distilled in Florida, but I think it's way over on the Sun Coast versus the over here on the Atlantic coast. Anyway, you look at it. This is a fine whiskey, and I'm gonna pour one off there for Mr. Chin Music. Thank you, sir. He did a $52.23 super chat donation, and he's got something to say. But before we do that, I was going to read that thing they got there, Mr. Uman. I guess not. Anyways, someone said the script for the Super Bowl was Seattle 27, Patriots 24. Oh, a nice close score. Have Seattle win. The Patriots don't have Tom Brady. I'm sure someone's going to set it up so woohoo, over in Vegas, they make all the money, right, with an upset. Anyways, there it is right there. Chin Music, this one's to you, brother. Semper Fi, down the hatch. Prost, and, well, God bless America. They make a pretty good whiskey. All right. Mr. Uman, if we can, let's take a look at what Mr. Chin Music has to say on this Sunday Night Live. It's the zoo. We're all here live. And Chin says, haven't seen the libs this upset since yesterday. I find it curious. They are the ones that identify the Obama llamas with monkeys and then call us racist. I'm going to stop right there. Okay, so that's the old video that had all of Washington's politicians have their faces put on animals, and then they'd sing the Mawima Wep in the jungle, the mighty jungle, yada yada, that song, right? Well, Joe Biden was a baboon stuffing a fucking banana in his pie hole. Appropriately, AOC was a braying donkey with that big fucking mouth of hers. And so what? If the Obamas, both of them were portrayed as orangutans or gorillas or monkeys or chimpanzees, I think she doesn't look anything like any of those. I think she looks like fucking Chewbacca. I think she looks like a Bigfoot from a fucking beef jerky commercial. I think he looks like looks like he's just a fucking retard. Anyways, right? Everyone was insulted in that. I felt insulted that Trump was portrayed as a lion. To me, he looks more like an orange kitten because he doesn't seem to be in charge of America. He seems to be in charge of administrating the way someone else wants America to be run. Now, that said, we know that our politicians are bought and paid for. But, you know, if you want to have fun, go back and read what President Nixon had to say about our good friends, the Israelis. Check that out. Now, identify the Obama llamas with monkeys, and then they call us racist. When I see anyone portrayed as a monkey or a baboon, I don't think racism. I don't care if they're white, black, Mexican. I don't give a fuck. Right? It's an animal. What are monkeys known for? They're known for grabbing their own shit and throwing it at people. And that's what the Obamas do. All they do is throw shit at other people. I don't like them. In fact, I basically think they're scum. But that's all of Washington, D.C. and Martha's Vineyard, etc. So, oh boy. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Someday, Darcy, someday. Basically, what I told her is I would like to meet everyone in person someday. The good people, you know, not the asshats on here, but just you good people. There's so many good people. You guys have been with me for years, and you've done such a good job trying to get people to wake up. Did such a good job, in fact, that we've had almost 80,000 people, and on the other channel, 5,070 people we're up to now. Anyways, to look at the monkey thing and then call someone a racist. It was the Democrats who said, you're making a racist thing. And I just go, look, who gives a fuck? Aren't we all supposed to come from monkeys? So what's the insult? I actually take exception to that. I actually feel it's an insult to say that I come from a monkey because I haven't agreed to that. Now, any of these non-Christian types that want to believe in 100% evolution, well, I guess they can accept the monkey thing, but I don't think so. I really think that I am the product of alien intervention and divine providence. All run one. Anyways, let's go back to chin music. He says, also, you have to love. What do we have to love there, big man? He says, you have to love the irony of the idiots in Mogadishu, Minnesota, protesting fascism and then setting up checkpoints to check the papers of people to enter their own fucking neighborhood. Just amazing, right? Time out on the field. Fucking penalty flag thrown. These Democrats are that fucking stupid that in order for them to feel safe, they need to have borders around their neighborhoods. In order to feel safe, you need to have a border around your neighborhood to stop what? To stop people you don't think should be in your neighborhoods based on what you think, period. Well, that's how Americans feel. And we feel so strongly about it, it's incorporated into the Constitution, into immigration law, into border enforcement, is we feel not just our neighborhoods, but the entire fucking country should be protected at the border from illegal border crossings by illegal people who are alien to our country, and also to military, other military. We don't want another army to just sashay across the border and come in here and start shooting people. But at the border, that's evil and wrong and bad. You're a fucking racist. But up in Mogadishu, Somalia, Minnesota, you can stop people, whether they like it or not, even though it is illegal. It is a criminal act for a civilian to go out in the street and stop traffic and make demands of free Americans who are not criminal. Make them show papers. And if you don't like their papers, if their papers are not in order, your papers aren't in order, you are not allowed in. We're going to keep your papers. We're going to damage your property, costing you money. Immigration and Customs Enforcement does not stop free Americans from traveling within their own country freely. The only reason they're operating in Mogadishu, Minnesota, is because Joe Biden, Democrats, the World Economic Forum, this is, by the way, their symbol, because that's what they give us, the rest of the world, telling us what to do. Right? They said, everyone, let all these illegals into your country. Now they're in our country, right? So our skin, the biggest organ in the body is the human skin, the membrane that keeps disease and filth out and keeps protecting the inside of our whole body. Our skin. It's the single largest organ in the whole body, the skin. Its job is to keep scum and disease out and protect the inside. That's what Border Patrol is. Keep the scum on the outside, disease and filth, and you only let in what your body says is good. You know, like scotch. Woo! One more drop. They're good to the last drop, right? It's not Maxwell House, it's John's house. All right. Anyways, let's continue. You're right, John Boy. I appreciate that chin music. They are dangerous because they are stupid. Literally. You see, stupid causes people to die. Stupid isn't just annoying. It's annoying, but it's not just annoying. Stupid. It's not just costly. It's very costly. Stupid isn't just dangerous. It can be fucking deadly. They are dangerous because they're stupid. They're also fucking deadly. Now, I see examples of this all the time. I see examples of deadly and stupid all the time in my life down here in Florida. I see it in the building industry. I see it in people on the street. I read about it in the papers. I see it on the internet. I catch it on mainstream media. I catch it on alternative media. The danger for someone traveling in, and I really do like Mogadishu. It's kind of like Mogadishu, Somalia, but it's Mogadishu in Minnesota, right? This is a bunch of dangerous, stupid fucking people. And if you roll up trying to go to your home, to drive on the road that your taxes pay for, in the car you paid for, with the registration taxes that paid for that, to get to the house that you paid for, that you had to pay a shit pile of taxes for your job, your income, and the house. To get there, these stupid, dangerous fucking people could steal your property, damage your property, damage you and your loved ones. They could kill you. Now, here in Florida, I can run you motherfuckers on the left right the fuck over. You get in the way. You get in the way, I'll run you right the fuck over if you break the law and you threaten my life. In Mogadishu, no, you can't do that. These people are breaking the fucking law, and the cops are doing nothing. The sheriffs are doing nothing. City police and sheriffs are different entities. The city council is doing nothing. The judges and prosecutors are doing nothing. The governor is not doing shit. The attorney general is not doing shit. And the president of the United States isn't doing a fucking thing. In fact, now he said, I won't do anything to stop and get rid of the illegals unless you ask me to help. Wouldn't be prudent. Fuck that. You don't ask your children what's the best way to discipline the household. They are dangerous because they're that stupid. Now, moving on. Nick Shirley did a good interview about how brainwashed the dupes he interviewed while they really are. Now Nick Shirley is the young man. He's not a graduate of Harvard Law School. He's not a graduate of the FBI, law enforcement. He's a fucking kid, a young man with at least this much intelligence. And he figured out all of this theft, all of this fraud, all of this money laundering, all of these fucking lies, abuse of power, right? Just everything, all this, the billions of dollars that are going to a bunch of illegal criminal Somali fucks. That guy, just a young guy. Well, wait a minute. Well, where is the local police? Where is the sheriffs? Where is the attorney general's office? Where are the franchise tax board? And looking at it going, hey, you got all this money. You don't have any real people there. Where's the federal people? Where's the Department of Justice, the attorney general's office? Where's the FBI? They're fucking absent. One young man, Nick Shirley, digs all this up and nobody gets arrested. Nobody. Is it because the left are brainwashed and they're just fucking stupid? Or is it because they want it to happen? Or is it both things all at once? So, Chin Music says, I'm not calling for violence either, but this is not going to end peacefully. They won't let it. This is a conversation I was hoping we would be having. I just didn't know it would happen this soon. Before I have this conversation about it not going to end peacefully, I am going to tell you guys your topics, your suggestions, your comments, your thoughts, your predictions. Bam, super chat button right up there gets you on the screen just like this. I'll make you famous. And now I want to talk about domestic violence. I've been slowly making more discussion about this on a weekly basis, but I've always said, and I will continue to say, do not break the law. Do not become violent. Don't become a criminal. I'm not inciting violence. I'm not telling you to do anything dangerous or harmful. All those fine social media and other laws out there. But I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen because it must. There is no peaceful end to this for the Democrats. They will not let me and you live peacefully, even if those bunch of fruitcake motherfuckers went back into every single school and started pushing transgenderism. And they went back into every single school and started pushing drag queen story hour with their dicks hanging out, swinging it in kids' faces. You and I would not get guns. If Democrats get power and they can do whatever they want with giving money to these fucking Somalis and these fucking Haitians and these fucking Palestinians and these fucked up Syrians and all these other fucked up Muslims, if they're just throwing all of our money at everybody and giving them houses and food and fucking cars and fucking the whole world up, they will not leave you and me alone. You see, that's not in the cards. It will not end peacefully if they've got all the power. Because absolute power corrupts the people that hold it absolutely. Period. So giving them control, giving them power, they will not leave you and me alone. Instead, they'll say, wow, we have a mandate. We have all the power. We own all the judges, all the lawmakers, everything from the from the lowest local level to the toppest federal level. We own it all and control it all. So fuck you, Republicans. We're coming for you. It will not end peacefully that way. Well, right now we've got the Senate and the House of Representatives and the Supreme Court and the presidency, and we can't get a fucking thing done to fix this country because they're a bunch of sellout, lying, cocksucker fucking scumbags taking money from foreign entities and corporations. And they're a bunch of hate-filled, lying, fucking Republican pieces of shit, period. I'm not happy with our party. They haven't done simple stuff like voter ID required to protect the integrity of our voting system. How is that not an easy pass when you have the majority everywhere? Now, okay, that's just a great, easy example to point to. Republicans have done jack shit. In fact, the Republican Department of Justice, Attorney General's office, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation have come out and publicly told all of us. We have all the letters. We have all the names. We have all the photos and all the videos of the Israelis, the British, the American, the European political class, corporate class, religious class, royal class, if I didn't say that one, I can't remember. All of them kidnapping, having sex with, raping, murdering, and even eating children. Literal discussions of cannibalism. Cannibalism, my friends. Sexually abusing children, anywhere from infants up to whatever, 15, even if they're overage, it's still fucking disgusting what these people do. And they told us this. They told us this. Their spokesman came out and says, we have all the names. We're not releasing them to the public. We're not investigating them any further. In what fucking universe does a Republican with a Republican administration and a Republican fucking Congress and a Republican Supreme Court stand in front of America, God, and the world and say, we're not going to do anything about it. We're going to let these sick, rich, just the most filthy, satanic, evil bastards get away with kidnapping, raping, torturing, murdering, and eating children. They even go so much as to describe the exact organs they eat. It is unbelievable. You think the Democrats are any fucking... No, they're not. They're all the same people. Two birds, different wings. The right wing and the left wing. Now, with us in power, we're not doing anything violent to these people. I would not object if I saw real men and real women find these people because they know who they are and where they fucking live. In fact, Thomas Massey is saying, if you don't release the names on your own, Pam Bondi, I will do it myself. And I don't know why he hasn't. The law says the government will release those names. I don't care who in the government does it because the law says it is commanded. Writ of mandamus, motherfuckers. Do your common law due diligence and release that shit. There's no fucking warning. There's no fucking time limit. It says to do it. Now, when the government tells me, John, register your car. You don't have a choice. John, pay your taxes. There's no fucking choice. John, stop. John, go. John, that way. John, the other way. John, pay. John, pay some more. John doesn't have a fucking choice, but the government can. It can decide. Okay, now, the Republicans are doing nothing. We've got all the power, and we are not ending anything. If the Democrats have power, chin music, it's not going to end peacefully. Violence is coming, my friends, brothers and sisters. Violence is coming, and it is going to be ugly like you cannot imagine. Now, lately I've noticed a trend, specifically since the new year. And that trend is very large, very masculine men showing up at protests, showing up at, well, City Hall, showing up at school board meetings, showing up in podcasts, showing up on the corners, yelling, protesting, showing up on their own private shows, just like we got the Prepared Mind here. Large, masculine men, black, Hispanic, white, saying, we've had enough of this shit. It's going to have to change. And most of these men are veterans. Most of these men know what it's like to pull a fucking trigger when you have to, when you need to, when it must be done. Because there's no other way out of that situation that you're in. If you're in war, my friends, and you're in the Army or the Marine Corps, if you're at war and you are infantry, you've got your rifle or your saw, and I don't mean a fucking chainsaw either, or whatever you got, you're at the front. You're somewhere in between. You're back at base. When you take fire, you return fire. When you see the enemy, you engage and kill. Now, if you're Air Force, if you're Navy, you aren't on the front lines, but you're there in support. And you're bombing from jets, and you're strafing, and you're launching fucking attacks from the sea. You don't have to be a soldier. You don't have to be infantry to know that you're engaged in a war. And the wages of war is death or victory. That's it. Death or victory. Now, there was this guy, and he said, hey, I'm in this to win it. Give me liberty, freedom, or give me death. There's no other room. So, as of late, especially in the last month, large, physically large, men of all colors with a moral clarity that Democrats don't fucking understand. And they're out there saying it is time to get violent. It is coming. We are sick and tired of sitting back watching the fucking government do nothing. Nothing. Please understand, folks, I'm not calling for violence because that would be criminal. What I'm telling you is large men, veteran ass kickers, are ready to fucking rock and roll this. It is going to happen at some point. It's going to happen. I'm seeing very pissed off, and they're all older too. Some of them are in their 40s, some are in their 50s, some are in their 60s and 70s, and they fucking had it. This is not going to end well. It's not going to end peacefully. The left will not quit, even when they've got no power. The right will not grow a pair of balls in Washington, D.C. because their balls are owned by corporations, by Epstein and Epstein's bosses, which is the CIA and Mossad, and they control the government. So the government will do nothing. But you put the Democrats in charge. You give the Democrats power, policing power. Look what they do without policing power. They're fucking policing people on the streets. They're bashing their cars. They're even bashing their own people. They're so fucking stupid. Literally bouncing rubber dildos off of people's vehicles, their own people, sticking them on the windshield. They're doing that to their own people. The guy's got signs in the back, anti-ICE signs, and the Democrats are so fucking rabid to attack someone, they attack their own people. When I say this can get ugly, and it will get ugly, is because it should get ugly. The left, the anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-children, anti-family, anti-law, anti-order, anti-border, anti-decency, anti-morality, left-wing, every fucking Democrat and half the Republicans are allowing and wanting the country to be destroyed and ruined. It's going to happen. Historical reminder. Historical reminder. During the Revolutionary War, which started after the Declaration of Independence was signed, sent to King George with a middle finger in 1776, right? The war was not won by a majority. The war was not won by an army. It was won by 20% of the country that wanted the war to be fought. 3% of the country actually did the military killing side, supported by the other 17%, financially, strategically, logistically, and in all ways that they could assist. You had a small percentage that loved England and was totally loyal, the Tories. And then there was a big percentage of Americans who were neutral. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't care. As long as they were being well fed and well cared for. As long as they could get what they needed from the government, that is the British at that time, they were just fine. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Even with 50% of the country being Republican, at least half of them are fucking worthless. Look at Washington. There's your example. Hardcore people like Thomas Massey, kind of rare, aren't they? Less than 3% of all of the congressmen are hardcore Americans. Let that be understood. Now, it's a great topic. The Democrats are going to get more and more violent. At some point, a Republican, a conservative, a patriot, and more than likely a veteran is going to say, I've had enough, and it is going to be a complete shit show until that person is killed. And I'd like to give an example. Let's just say there's a man that lives in Texas, and he pays his taxes. He's served his nation both through the military and as a taxpayer and as a member of his community. He's raised his children. He's paid his fucking dues. And somebody attacks his wife. She's just driving from fucking Piggly Wiggly, and she wants to go home and make a nice dinner for her and him. And she pulls up to a stop sign and gets fucking assaulted, gets the car fucking destroyed. She gets dragged out of the car and beaten for doing nothing more than being a complete, innocent, law-abiding person. So she's able to be picked up and dusted off, put back in her car, and she drives home. And her husband, because he got a phone call or a text from her, meets her in the driveway, and first thing he sees is the car as it pulls up, and it's all beat to shit. And it just barely turns into the driveway because she's abused psychologically, physically. What do you think is going to go through that man's head? As a man, as a husband, as an American, as a veteran, as a lover of morality and decency, what the fuck do you think is going to go through his head? Where did this happen and who are these people? How soon can I get there? Remember, just a few months back, a sheriff, not a deputized sheriff, not a deputy, but the actual sheriff, had his daughter was being controlled and taken advantage of by a judge who had a sex racketeering scheme running through his judge's office in the courthouse as a member of the fucking government. And the sheriff, being the sheriff, was allowed to carry a pistol because he's the sheriff. Into the courthouse, past the metal detector, past the deputies keeping guard, past the fucking bailiffs. Walked to the judge's office, opened the door, shut the door, showed the judge on the phone what he's been doing, pulled his pistol out, aimed it at the judge, and bam, killed him because something was done to that man that he knew could only be taken care of because the rest of the government had failed. In my opinion, I think that's where we're going in this country right now. This is the level of failure we're seeing. At the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level, we're seeing that pedophiles, murderers, torturers, cannibals, rapists are being allowed to exist, proliferate, get away with everything because the federal government doesn't want to do its job. At the state level, they're doing the same thing, giving our money away, allowing criminals out of prison, not putting them in jail, and they're attacking people on the street. At the local level, they're stopping people at traffic. They're destroying property. They're threatening people. And nothing is being done to fucking stop it. That's how close we are. So the question I'll ask you is, what do we do? No one has hurt anyone in my family. So I don't feel a personal responsibility to go fix it. But if it starts happening around me in my area and I come to hear about it, that someone else's family, someone else's wife or son or daughter or husband has been obliterated by these left-wing fucknuts and the police refuse to do anything about it. Vigilantism, my friends, is not a dirty word. Vigilantism is not a crime. The crime is the government not doing its job, stopping other criminals. Vigilantism is the answer to incompetent government that refuses to do its fucking job. They've had years to figure this out, folks. Not days, not weeks, or even months. They've had fucking years to deal with this and solve the problem. Instead, they've allowed the problem to grow, fester, exacerbate, and become a fucking cancer on our country. No, I know a lot of you are asking, John, where the fuck did you get all this information? Are you reading a script? No, I'm not. It's just how fucking pissed off I am and what I see coming for us. And eventually, at some point, it's going to be too fucking much. And the evidence I point to suggest that that time is coming soon is all of these very large, very pissed off, real men. Some of them are law enforcement. Most of them are veterans. All of them appear to have a very large frame and a high amount of testosterone. Mr. Uman, let's continue the show. It is Sunday Night Live. We're at 45 minutes in. We've got 300 people live right now. Share the internet address. We're on The Prepared Mind on YouTube. We're on The Prepared Mind on the other YouTube channel. We are on subscribestar.com. We're on the preparedmind.club. We are on X Uman and who knows what other social media broadcasts. You guys are the star of the Sunday Night Live show. And I will tell you, I don't want anyone to break the law. I'm just going to tell you, though, vigilantism, in my opinion, is not breaking the law, and I think people are going to do it. God help the idiot that fucks around with anyone in my family or even my neighborhood. It won't be pretty. Now, the good part about my neighborhood is I know that law enforcement personnel, well, the ones I've met, won't play around with these fucking idiots. Mr. Uman, who's next on the Prepared Mind channel? We've got Tinfoil Hat Plumber. He says, when the law breaks the law, there is no law. That's a quote from Billy Jack. When there is no law, right? I don't think this is confusing, right? But you can say, well, if there's no law, then no one's breaking the law. Right? So if there's no laws, we're living lawless. We're just living amongst each other with no laws written down. You know when something's wrong and you know when something's right. If someone does something wrong, well, they didn't violate the law, but the people that know better are going to go make sure they learn. And that's what the law is supposed to do. It's supposed to teach you what you can and can't do, what is accepted morally and legally, all that stuff, right? But when the law, as in law enforcement, lawyers and judges who are responsible for administrating and carrying out the law, when they don't accept any law, recognize the law, support and enforce, then you're right. There is no law. Now it's down to the people teaching each other the appropriate lessons. Now, I read an article today. In Somalia, 2 men were captured and found guilty of kidnapping and gang raping a preteen girl in Somalia. Well, the father was allowed, after they were found and found guilty, to select the firing squad. And then after they shot these rapists, the father was allowed to go over and make sure they were fully dead. Now, I thought, well, that sounds great. How come the smallies in America don't have any problem raping women and raping children and kidnapping children and drugging children? Well, you want to know why? Because Americans are infidel. You see, the Muslims love to say, oh, yeah, in our country, yeah, well, we don't allow rape. Yeah, you don't allow rape of other Muslims because you respect each other as Muslims. There's no respect for America or our laws, folks. Understand who the enemy is and what they're doing in this fucking country, what their goal is and how they're allowed to operate in a lawless fashion because the government is refusing to uphold the fucking law. Ooh, man, who's next on the Prepared Mind channel? As the attendance climbs, share the internet address. Do it now. And Big Dan the Man is here with a $5 super chat donation. Thank you, Big Dan. And he says, that was a wild ride Silver had last week up to the $120 mark and then back down to 77 an ounce. What do you think happened there? They found a bunch somewhere? Well, you may have missed it, Dan. In the middle of the night on Friday morning, if you will, late Thursday night, depending on what time zone on the planet, silver actually dropped down to $64 an ounce. Almost a 50% reduction. Now, understanding when you're in this kind of a bull market, which we've been in 1979 to 1981, 2009 to 2011, there are corrections as you go up 5 times, 6 times, 700%, 800%. There are setbacks of 20%, 30% along the way. Those are standard because you got a lot of what's called hot money in the system. A lot of hot money. Well, what does that hot money do? Well, it's there for a quick profit. It doesn't want to take any risks. So if it has a trailing stop as it goes up. If it drops 5%, they sell all their shit. So it drops more and catches the 10% guys. Then it falls more and catches the 15%. It cleans out what are known as weak hands. Strong hands don't have a sell. Weak hands do. But something that happened the last Friday before, it was not that they found a bunch of silver somewhere. I'm glad you asked that question. The answer is, did they find a bunch of silver? No, they didn't. Had nothing to do with the amount of silver in the market, on the planet, mined in the ground, or otherwise. It had to do with what was coming up. Several things happened, in my opinion. One of the most notable was a realization that there is no silver to be found beyond what we have. And that corporations, yes, corporations around the world, as well as sovereign nations, have begun to stockpile silver, demanding delivery off of the exchanges, off of the trading floors. Anywhere silver is to be found in bullion depositories, they're buying it, having it shipped to them, and they're locking it in their own storage facility. Whether they need 100,000 ounces or 1 million ounces or 20 million ounces, it doesn't matter. Okay, that is happening. An understanding of the silver market is being had by anyone willing to educate themselves. Now, last Wednesday, which was 4 days after they started this crash, the United States government, through its vice president and secretary of state, decided to host approximately 50 other nations to have a critical minerals summit and meeting to discuss how to guarantee supply chains and protect investment, to stabilize the market, to cause more mining to happen, to look out for one another. It was a bunch of bullshit, right? The United States wants to protect itself. All those other nations want to protect themselves. Yeah, they're meeting. Yeah, they're discussing things. Yeah, they're setting up trade unions. Yeah, they're setting up mutually beneficial agreements. Of course. Of course. But one of the important things is they're going to put and this was literally announced by the vice president, we're going to put a floor, meaning a hard floor. The silver price can't drop below that. It can't drop below that. So if the government, the United States government, stands up and goes, the price of silver needs to be $100 minimum. Any trading institution around the planet, any trading institution, if they try shorting silver, you can only go to that $100 floor and it stops. In the United States, they're going to protect the market so it can't get dropped. So that takes away the incentive and the ability to force the price lower by selling silver you don't have to scare out all the investors so they can come back in and buy lower. And then let it run up and get a bunch of people in there, then short it, fuck them all out of their money and their shares, and then buy it back lower. And that's what they do. And they've done for fucking decades. But it's come to an end because they've run out of silver. Because they've held the price so low, no mining company is going to invest the capital it has in expanding the mine, buying more equipment, and trying to make money because they're only making this fucking much. It disincentivizes not just mining, not just development, not just expansion, but also exploration. Why look for silver if it's fucking worthless on the dollar scale? Costs too much money. Investors won't want to invest in exploration companies to find where the metal's at so they can sell it to a mine that can then expand and then invest a bunch of money in equipment and setting this up that takes years and years and years and years just to have some fucking banker in New York City to go, you know what? It's time to short the fuck out of this thing and drop it 30%. Bam! Right? Now. So now the shorters are fucked. In fact, right now there's one Chinese short. He has 130% of Shanghai's silver in its vaults shorted. In other words, he's bet against more silver than even fucking exists. You're not supposed to be able to short something unless you have it already. How can you invest negatively more than even fucking exists? So China, get this, froze him. According to the alleged experts, he's frozen. He can't get out of it. He's now fucked. But understand this, over here in the United States of America, in London, the rest of the world, the banks brought it from $120 an ounce, and they shorted it, and they scared everyone out, and they shorted it, and they fucked everyone, and they shorted it, and they scared away the weak hands, and got it down here so they could get rid of their shorts. And guess who is buying and going long? Meaning, no more short, let's ride the elevator to the top. Well, I don't know, hedge funds, ETFs, investment firms, rich motherfuckers are like, well, they're going to put a floor in it. All I can do at this point now is ride it to the top. Because they knew the meeting was coming. They knew what J.D. Vance was going to talk about. They knew what the program's going to be, so they bought cheap. They got themselves a nice 40% discount. 40% discount at the expense of you, me, anybody that has an investment portfolio or a 401k at work that invests in critical minerals and the infrastructure and industry. Everyone got fucked. They didn't find anything anywhere, Big Dan. It was a fuck show. Now, I'm looking to the other side. Because yes, I do have some silver. Yeah, a little bit, right? There's 1 ounce right there. I like to keep that handy. If the United States says they don't want silver leaving Mexico or Peru and heading to China. They want that metal to come to the United States. They want Canadian silver to come to the United States. So all these countries met with J.D. Vance. All these countries met with Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. All these countries met with Secretary of the Interior and all these other fucking screwball bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. And they said, we need the metal to stay in the United States of America so we can develop our refining system, our precious metals refining. Silver is the most critical mineral on the list. I know there's others that are very critical also, but it's in power, industry, batteries, medical, military, electronics, computers, data stations, nuclear reactors. Silver is required for space, underwater, and submarines everywhere. And there's not enough. So if you think putting a floor under it, silver is $100. That's going to stop the shorts from stealing and fucking everyone out of their money. But is that going to stop China from going, you like 100, we have $120 that says you're going to send your metal to us. See, the floor stops it from dropping. But if you want the metal to stay in the United States and get refined and get processed and get used in American industry for American products, for the things America needs, you can't have the United States be cheaper than China. China says they're 120. America needs to be 125 to keep the metal in this country. Silver, copper, zinc, nickel, cobalt, what you name the metal, tin, lead, it doesn't fucking matter how basic or how important. You've got to have and be offering the most amount of money. Not the least amount, not a floor level. You've got to offer the most. Otherwise, why would Mexico send their silver to the United States for $100 an ounce when they can send it to China for $125? An additional 25% pure, clean, easy profit. Same with Canada. Same with Peru. Those are the three biggest, besides China, countries that produce these metals. The United States produces a tiny fraction of what we need because of our mining regulations and the lack of investment income. I'm telling you, folks, it's going to get wild. If you think the wild ride down from 120 to where we're at now, wait till you see the wild ride going up. Because the United States, if it's at all serious, the government, about protecting industry, mining, processing, every fucking thing, then they have to put a minimum high price at all times. Otherwise, metal will flee. Money goes to where it is most appreciated. Commodities, things of value, go where it is most appreciated. Why would money go to where it's hated, where it's taxed, where it's confiscated? Why would silver go where it's treated like shit, where it's ignored, where it's punished, when it can go to where it's rewarded in China? And then China turns around and they process, they refine 60 to 70% of all the world's silver. They do it faster, cheaper, done. They've refined it. They've got their system down. They are the fastest, cheapest way to get your silver or any other metal refined. Why would you send it to anywhere else? So they can give you less for your metal and charge you more for the refining? Why the fuck would you do that? Because J.D. Vance has a nice beard and eyelashes? Because Marco Rubio has really good hair? No. You go to where what you have is the most appreciated. Thank you, Big Dan. I appreciate all your ongoing support. Mr. Uman, who's next on the Prepared Mind channel, Sunday Night Live, Super Bowl Sunday at that. And now we have Viking Boomer with a $20 super chat donation. And he said, Western Europe is a precursor as to what lies in store for us. I dread to think where we'll be by 2030. What he's referring to here is the problem caused by the green weenies, that is to say, the environmental fucknuts. That system is failing. The demand for complete and total control of free speech, the socialist governance of all nations in Europe, and not to mention, and this is probably first and foremost, all of the foreign fucks that they brought into Europe. All of the Muslims, all of the Indians, all of the Pakistanis, everywhere from Africa to the Near East to the Far East. If you look at the elected politicians in London, it looks like a fucking lineup from a Dollywood movie out of Bangladesh. And you know what's happening in America? They're electing them here too. Oh yeah. They're now electing all of these socialist, communist, anti-American, either fucking Hindus or Muslim Pakistanis, all of these Muslims that hate us. They're doing it in Canada. Montreal, Quebec, Toronto, they're fucked. But it'll spread to the other cities. The left has learned that they need to not just control the capital, but control all the people in the little cities. Right now in London, right now in all of Europe, their politicians, my friends, are resigning and hiding and quitting because of the Jeffrey Epstein files. They're actually embarrassed, whereas American politicians are not. They're like, yeah, I went and saw him. I shouldn't have done that. Gee whiz. Golly. I didn't know Jeffrey Epstein was a bad guy. They're all fucking liars. They know everything. They know everything about Epstein and what he does. Yeah, let's see. I went to Epstein's house and he's got 10 little girls under the age of 12 running around. I didn't know he had so many kids. Really? Western Europe is showing us exactly what they want to do to Canada, Australia, and yes, the United States of America. They want to do it to Mexico, Central and South America too. But they've got to destroy America. We're the hardest one to get to because of this thing. This Constitution, our First Amendment and Second Amendment. Oh, don't worry. The Anti-Defamation League is doing all they can to try and come up with a way to fuck us out of free speech. The only way for that to work is for us to allow them to fuck us out of free speech. I don't plan on doing it. I think I enjoy doing my best Dennis Leary and telling them they can kiss my ass. Right? I want to watch. I want to listen. I want to hear. I want to say. I want to eat. I want to go and do whatever the fuck I want. And you can't stop me unless you pull a gun on me. And now you're asking for civil war. Right? Second Amendment. Warning to all patriots, veterans, sportsmen, constitutionalists. The Democrats are buying guns as much as they can stand it and afford it. They're actually going and learning how to shoot at gun ranges. They're encouraging each other to become violent. They're even telling each other, we need to go out and shoot ICE. We need to go shoot Republicans. We need to shoot Christians. We need to kill all white people. Oh yeah, folks. That's what they're calling for. Let me tell you what else they're calling for. I don't know when the last time there was a decent Democrat around, but I think I've pinned it down. Thank you, Viking, very much. The last decent Democrat was a man who was murdered. His name was Seth Rich. Now, I found an article written by someone who goes by the name of The Skiff, SCIF. This is on X. I want to read to you what he had to write because it has everything to do with Epstein, freedom, law and order, what the hell happened, where we're going. He says, this is I'm reading directly from X. The Pizzagate emails were originally discovered in John Podesta and Hillary Clinton's emails, where the secret comms involving food, especially the word pizza, were being used to disguise the talk about trafficking and abuse of children. These emails were presented to the world by WikiLeaks, which were originally obtained by a brave American patriot named Seth Rich. Seth Rich found out that the DNC, that's the Democrat National Committee, Seth Rich found out that the DNC rigged the primary against his favorite candidate, Bernie Sanders. Seth worked for the DNC and had special access. He then downloaded the emails and gave WikiLeaks the Democrat National Committee Podesta Clinton emails. He, Seth Rich, exposed the Podesta Clinton emails because he saw how corrupt his own party was. His perception of the government and his world was shattered when the truth revealed itself, and he wanted to expose the truth to the world. I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to a Democrat named Seth Rich, who was murdered for exposing Skippy John Podesta and Hillary the whore Clinton for what they were doing to children. That opened up Pizzagate, Comet Ping Pong, Jeffrey Epstein was reintroduced to the world, Little St. James, the Lolita Express, all of it. And what was done in response to that? Seth Rich was said that, well, he was murdered, even though they didn't take his wallet, they didn't take his property, they didn't take anything, they just killed him. They just killed him. They're so stupid, they didn't even think to make it look like a robbery gone bad. This is where we're at in the country, folks. That was in 2016, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, they killed Seth Rich over the Epstein files, over the Clinton files, over the Podesta files, over Pizzagate, over child pedophilia, kidnapping, rape, murder, and cannibalism. Frazzle drip. The last decent Democrat died 10 years ago. Unbelievable, folks. They're promising you and me, all of us, white genocide. And I don't think that the people that are promising and wanting that realize that they're actually in bigger trouble. And their problem isn't going to be just the white people. All of these racists out here, all of these Democrats, all of these Muslims, all of these Israelis, all of these anti-Americans, they don't realize that they've got an entire network of interracial non-whites that are going to protect and rise up and fight with us. Ooman says, what about Fetterman becoming a Democrat in name only? A dino. That's funny. John Fetterman, a.k.a. Uncle Festus, Festerman, whatever name you want to make for this giant retard who has brain damage. He's so brain damaged. He's a U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania, and he's a Democrat. He's so brain damaged, he actually has morals. He's like, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. And that makes him look like a dino because he's actually against killing ICE officers. Can you imagine that? He stands out in the Democrat Party because he doesn't want to kill people upholding the law. But Festerman is a piece of shit because he came out just the other day and guess what he said? This is why having this up here, this interesting informational storage device called a fucking brain, is Festerman came out and said, I will always vote for anything Israel. Always Israel. Israel first. He's not an American. He is a brain-damaged Democrat who, for some reason, has a modicum of respect for law and order. And you know why I think he does? I think he does because at some point he thinks the Democrats are going to be in charge again. And then they will want Republicans like you and me to obey everything they say, no matter how stupid or ridiculous, because they'll point and go, well, it's the law. We say so. It's a presidential decree from King Democrat. Well, wait a minute. I thought the law is whatever we say it is because, we're Democrats. Well, yeah, again, Democrats can say and do whatever they want. No consequences for you and me. Always consequences. Always holding us responsible. Oh, yeah, good stuff. Now, back to this. Folks, black Democrats are racists. Oh, yeah. Let's just very quickly.
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
Right-wing radical Republicans are evil. Are we raping children? Are we wanting children to be raped? Are we wanting to eat children? Are we wanting to give our money and steal and give property away and fuck this country? No. Now, that whole thing about right-wing Republicans, that's code for white Republicans. It's also, even though they don't want to admit it, it's code for Black Republicans, Asian Republicans, Hispanic Republicans. Okay, Black Democrats are racist against whites and also anyone else who isn't a Democrat. And they actually think, these Black Democrats, they think that all Black people are stupid. I don't, but they do. Now, Van Jones, who worked for Obama in the Obama administration, who now works for mainstream media, is a very, very smart Black communist mouthpiece. So this dumb fuck, who's not a dumb fuck, by the way, he does think that Blacks are stupid. So he went out and he asked Black Trump voters if they would vote for Trump again. And one of the most common answers was absolutely yes. Quote, 1,000% absolutely yes. That upset Van Jones. He thought that by being a very articulate, handsome, smart commufuck and Black, that he could, through the force and power of mainstream media, convince all Blacks, including Black Trump voters, to vote against Trump and vote against Republicans. They don't seem to get it. Good people are not going to be convinced they're evil because of some tribal affiliation like skin color. Blacks, Hispanics, whites, and Asians, even Native Americans that love this country and love law and order. And while we have a checkered history, we're still the best fucking nation on the planet. The most fair, the most lawful, the most moral, the most decent, the most advanced. We're all of those things. Right? I think we're great. We could be much greater because, well, there's always room to improve. But this is what's going on. They have declared war on, well, Republicans, right-wing Republicans, which includes Black Republicans, Asian Republicans, Hispanic Republicans, Native Republicans, as well as white Republicans. They are asking for the violence. They don't realize who is out here. Now, if there's any fucking doubt, any doubt at all about whether or not these people want to kill us, the concept of white replacement theory, it's not a theory, it's a fucking white paper. It is being enacted right now. That's why they're inviting in millions of people that are not white, that actually hate whites. If you destroy whites, you destroy everything. Because currently we are the majority, and we like our law and order and our Constitution and safety. And other people that enjoy that as well have joined us. But a CNN contributor went on the air and said, quote, "It's time for a fumigation of MAGA." What is fumigate? Fumigation is to poison and kill something you don't like. You fumigate against ticks. You fumigate against termites. You fumigate against rodents. You fumigate against things you don't like. Now, they want to fumigate MAGA. While I'm not MAGA, I'm America first. I invite and accept their fumigation efforts, their fumigation game that they want to play. Do you see how close we are to literal violence? Open street warfare, Mad Max, SHTF. Do you see it? It's time to fumigate Republicans. We are at war with Republicans. We are at war with evil Republicans. It's time to fumigate them. That's how bad it is, my friends. Ooh, man, let's do it. Let's have some more super chat thoughts and questions. And it's F Home to See, who writes, the lesser of two evils is still evil. Indeed. Is the new boss the same as the old boss? If nothing changes, that is correct. If you get a new boss and things change, they arrest the criminals. They lock up the evil. They arrest the pedophiles. They throw the bad guys in prison. They kick the illegals out. They stop the law breaking. They denaturalize lying pieces of shit and kick them out of the fucking country. Yeah. One coin has two sides. And it's heads, you win, if you're a Democrat, and tails, they, the Republicans, lose, right? One bird, two wings, same bird, right wing, left wing, doesn't matter. It's the same shit bird. It's the same dead animal carrion, meat picking vulture is what Washington, D.C. is. And it's a cancer. It is an awful, awful cancer. And I'm not going to quit talking about it until there comes a time when talking about it isn't the action to take. At some point, the action is going to get nasty. All right, Mr. Uman, let us continue if we shall on this, well, this wonderful day. Super Bowl is playing right now, and I couldn't give a fuck. I care what Dan the Man Erickson says. He says, I'm learning. He says, I'm leering every day how fucked up this country is. I think the first fraudulent Somali daycare center to be exposed in Minneapolis, Minnesota, was the one that has a sign out front that says it's the Leering Center. They didn't spell learning correctly. Got someone's attention. They looked into the Leering Center and they discovered how much money they get. And then they sat outside and watched and waited and noticed that there's no children that go in or out. So how can a multi-million-dollar every year Leering Center take care of children and get government subsidies if there's no children? Yeah. Every day I'm leering more and more ways that this country is absolutely being run by actual evil people who are allowing evil to happen. Folks, everything we need to have a good, safe country is right here in the Constitution. It's all there. All the government has to do is obey the law and enforce it. And they're absolutely refusing. They're like, nope, don't want to hear it. And that's why we have the country we have. Because government has failed us. And when it fails to the point that you and I, patriots, good Americans, sportsmen, veterans, preppers, when all of us are individually threatened to the point where we have to take action, that's when the action begins. And once that starts, I do not believe it's going to stop. Maybe stop here, maybe stop there. But in areas where the police go, you're on your own. Fuck it. We don't care. Nuh-uh. And then I'm going to tell you what, in those areas where the police are like, we can't take control, we can't keep control, there's nothing we can do, fuck you. When people come up and say, then we'll protect ourselves and we'll take care of those problems over there. We'll stop the criminality. The police can't get up that day and put their duty belt on, put in their sidearm, put on their badge and go, okay, we're back. All of you people that have been taking care of business, you're under arrest. It's going to be like, I'm sorry, officer. I'm not going to allow myself to be arrested today or tomorrow or any time for having to protect myself, my family, and the entire neighborhood, protect the city, the county, the state, because you people wouldn't do your fucking jobs. And so we had to. We know who the bad guys are. We know where they live. We know what they look like. We know what they're saying. We know what they've done. It's going to be an ugly fucking mess, folks. As I said in one of my first videos, it's going to be a messed up, messy mess. Said that back in the video I did in December of 2013. I said it's going to be a messy mess. And I stand by that. Ooh, man, who's next? And we've got a great turnout today, folks, for a Super Bowl Sunday, 325 plus people. And hey, it's our good friend D. Orse checking in with a 762 super chat donation. And he says, how about those assault weapons bans passed in Virginia about 2 days ago? Stop right there. A foreign-born piece of shit human from another country that doesn't have a Second Amendment, doesn't even have a First Amendment, doesn't have a Constitution. It's a bunch of fucking backwards ass goat fuckers. He's in Virginia and he's proposing this assault weapons ban. Number one, it's unconstitutional. Number two, it's unconstitutional. And number three, it's unfucking constitutional. Nowhere in the Constitution, at the federal or even the state level, does it say the state can take your guns. Nowhere. The words shall not be infringed. At the federal level, the national level, the constitutional level, serves as its own protective layer against state encroachment of the law with a capital A, capital W. And in my opinion, folks, any fucking congressman, assemblyman, senator, any city council, any fucking feds that prescribe or call for any rule that violates our rights, they should be removed from fucking office for cause, with extreme prejudice for the way they respect or rather lack any respect for the law, our culture, and our traditions, all of which matter. Fuck that guy and the government. Now, you also bring up no detachable magazines over 15 rounds and other nonsense. No grandfathering. They have no right, folks, no right. Now, the Constitution was written in plain English, intentionally so, for the express purpose that anyone, whether fully educated, partially educated, college educated, etc., that they would be able to understand what the law is. And that's why they wrote it that way. Now, let's go to the Bill of Rights, shall we? The Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia. The word regulate is not government regulation. The word regulate means practiced. A well-practiced militia. Militia means a fighting force comprised of all men from the time of maturity or adulthood, which typically today means 18 years or older, to any capable, able-bodied men. All men that are capable and able-bodied are the militia, and they should be well-practiced. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people, meaning us as individuals, to keep and bear arms, meaning to own weapons, and to be able to hold them and carry them at all times, shall not be infringed. It doesn't say infringed here and there, or that stupid bitch, Jeanine Pirro, judge, who said, you're not bringing your guns into the city. We'll arrest you. No, sorry, bitch. Back up. All of these people, they are pushing for a war. A partisan war, a religious war, a cultural war, a national war, up to and including civil war. They're asking for it, and they will ultimately and eventually get their way. As far as I'm concerned, the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth, if you will, can fuck right the fuck off. I have never turned in a single round of ammunition. I have never turned in a single magazine. And I actually had a weapon that had a clip once, too. If you guys know what that is. I've never turned in a rifle, a shotgun, or a sidearm or pistol or revolver, if you will. Never. Nor will I at the command of some government fuckwad. Why? Because I would rather die a free man standing on my feet defending what I know is right than to get on my knees, bend over, stick my ass in the air so the government can fuck it while kissing their boots. Won't happen. And Sebastian in France, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you for the email, by the way. No grandfathering. Nope. The Commonwealth of Virginia, which is now run by a communist, America-hating piece of shit, CIA spook, a worthless trollop of a governor. What? It's just it's a fucking abomination. It truly is. Okay, Mr. Uman, where do we want to go next? We got Jerry Robbins checking in, and he's talking about Senator Festerman of Pennsylvania. He says, Fetterman says it took having a stroke to teach him that the left is crazy. Wow. Now, I've never heard this, but I'm going to take you at your word that he said something along these lines. It took a stroke, giving him brain damage, to teach him that the left, Democrat, communist, anti-Americans are crazy. It took a stroke. It took brain damage to undo some of his Democrat indoctrination. But apparently not enough for him to leave the Democrat Party or to denounce anything that's un-American, or he doesn't have enough brain damage to accept the Constitution, the history of this country. Because he's still 95% Democrat. He's just pro-law enforcement. And the law enforcement that scares me is the law enforcement that allows pedophiles, allows murder, but refuses to uphold the law. But they're willing to, well, fuck you over. Yeah. Maybe that's the law enforcement he wants, is the one that does what Democrats say, even when it violates the Constitution. Thank you, Jerry Robbins. That's some funny shit, man. Ooh, man, who's up next? It's Do Stuff with Nikki. And she says, I never had a problem with Fetterman. He's not nearly as fake as some of the others, but again, it's a politician. Fetterman, let me explain to you who Fetterman is. He is not an American, other than he was born here and he claims to be one. And this is the example. Trump's inauguration. What did John Fetterman wear? Does anyone know? Ooh, man, do you know? Fetterman, the pile of shit, wore sweatpants and a fucking hoodie to the inauguration for the President of the United States as a sitting senator. That's how he dressed. Zero respect, zero decorum, zero fucking brains. Now, I'm going to juxtapose that to Senator John Fetterman, who goes to Congress to sit for the appearance of Benjamin Netanyahu. What did Senator Fetterman wear for that? Ooh, man? Anyone? Anyone know? He wore a fucking suit. He wore shoes, pants, a shirt with a tie, and a fucking jacket. And if he had any hair on that stupid fucking gourd of his, he would have combed it. But he's a bald, dumb-looking motherfucking idiot. So when you say you don't have a problem with Fetterman, you need to look closer to all of these bastards. I'm not putting you down, Nikki. I just know there's so much to keep an eye on. And it's so fucking hard to remember everything that these bastards do. And that's why I put so much time, energy, and effort into it, at the expense of me living a relatively relaxed bunker lifestyle, I could just sit in my bunker with a fucking scotch in peace, go to work a little bit, come home, drink my fucking scotch, and not give a shit. But I do give a shit, and that's why I try and remember this stuff, so we don't make the mistake of thinking they ain't that bad. No. You don't excuse kidnapping children. You don't excuse transporting them out of the country. And even in the country. Zorro Ranch, people. Zorro Ranch. Don't forget Zorro Ranch in Texas. You don't excuse raping children and go, what? They're not children. They're just, 15-year-old girls. That doesn't count. They're women. Calling women 15 years old. But calling 20-year-old rapists from another country boys to make them sound like they're kids. No. These politicians, these corporate people, these royal people, these intelligence service scumbags that went to Epstein's Island, you don't allow that and then just say, well, they're not that bad. I don't got much wrong with them. Just that. Just rape, murder, fucking cannibalism. They actually, and get this is also in the Epstein files. They have women, young women, that they force to breed so they have children that they can birth and then use for their ceremonial, sick, fucking satanic rituals. It's in there. And that's what they've let out. Imagine the other 6 million pages that they won't let out. Oh, I've got it, folks. I mean, when I said I'm not going to forget this Epstein shit, why should I? You know what these dumb fucks did? I wonder if they did it intentionally. But right now, there are hackers and programmers working on the Epstein documents. Because they took the document. Here's the page, right? Fucking page. Electronic page. And they blacked out. They redacted certain names, certain places, certain activities, except the word torture has come up and murder and cannibalism. And boy, that was fun. Let's do that again. All that blackout is a code. It's a code that applies a black cover over the top of the names and the dates and the places and the people and the activities. Right now, there are groups of very competent, very motivated hackers that do not like these fucking evil bastards. And they're slowly, one by one, removing the codes on all of these sheets so that we can see who, what, where, when, why, how these cocksuckers were doing this. And guess what? Over in Europe, they want to release all this shit, period. The Europeans are surprisingly, even though they allow their own daughters to be fucking raped left and right, this Epstein thing has gotten to them. And they want to know who, what, where, when, why, and they want it out. This is going to come out. This is going to come out. And so people that excuse it away, like Festerman, or just all of fucking Congress, except for just a very few, Massey being the most notable, Ro Khanna, who I don't have any respect for, is at least for releasing all this stuff. It's going to get messy. If they have a choice between going to jail as a billionaire and losing all their money and all their property and all their house and all their prestige and losing their fucking life over it, or doing a false flag, taking us into World War III and killing all of us, which do you think they're going to choose? I've warned about this for years, folks. It's called scorched earth. If they can't win, if they can't have everything, then fuck everyone. They'll destroy it all. Now, they go, well, we can't afford to release all these names of these corporations and bankers and intelligence community assets like Epstein and, all of Mossad and all of Israel and all of England. Or if we can't do that, hey, it'd be bad. No. What's bad is leaving them in power. If we knew their names and arrested them and got them out of the way, that would make America and the world a better place. A better place. And it would show the whole world you can't do that. You can't kill children and eat children and rape children and kidnap children. You can't give our countries away to fucking third world scum and get away with it. You will be held accountable. And everything will be taken from you. How much, if they knew that, they'd play nice, wouldn't they? but they don't play nice because they've gotten away with it for decades after decade after decade. We need these names released so we know exactly who the players are, so we can get rid of them. And then they're not a problem. And their threats are not a problem. That's where I'm at. That's where a lot of people are at. That's where very large, very experienced, very skilled, very pissed off, very protective American veterans, sportsmen, patriots, and preppers are at. I want these hackers to do their job. I want these programmers to deprogram this shit and put it out there. Don't hide it. Don't make threats. Just fucking release it onto the internet. Blast it out there so everybody has a chance to make a copy of everything. And then we go after them. We tell the government, either you go after them or we're going after them. I want to hear wee-woos. I want to see shiny bracelets on assholes in $5,000 suits. And if we don't see it, we're going to go get them ourselves. That's what I want to hear from Americans, and that's what I want to see. And good golly, folks, it's over 90 minutes in, and I've got a lot to say. All right, Mr. Uman, who's next? Who's got a super chat? And it's Big Dan, the man with the $10 super chat. And he says, I'm seeing a lot of these mobile home parks in the news that are being bought up by rich assholes, then telling the older people on a fixed income they have to move their trailer somewhere else. It is fucked up shit. Now, I'm in the great state of Florida. We got hurricanes here, tornadoes too, believe it or not, and a lot of trailer parks. And there's very few things with respect to housing that give me greater joy than seeing trailer parks. I've been over to the coasts, the East Coast, the West Coast, the Southern Coast, the Northern Coast. I've seen beautiful houses on the beach, these multi-million-dollar fucking mansions. Beautiful. I love them. I don't love them any more than I love the trailer parks. There's fucking trailer parks here, folks, that have been here since the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, the teens, the 2020s, and they're still there. The windstorms, the hurricanes, the fucking tornadoes have not gotten rid of them. You know what's getting rid of them? These corporations that are buying them up and then putting up fucking high-rise apartments, high-rise condos, 4 stories, 5 stories, 10 stories, 20 stories. Yeah. Fuck the old people in their trailer parks. It is Americana, and they're just destroying it everywhere they can. Drive across the state of Florida. It will make you fucking puke. I've only been here 5 years. And to see what they're doing to this state is outrageous. And it's also too expensive for most people. Look, I got my land. I got my bunker. Doesn't cost me hardly anything. But other people out there are priced out of the market. People are having to leave this fucking state because so many people are coming here with all their money from the northern states trying to escape that communism. Fortunately, they're not bringing the communism here, that they're bringing a cost of living, and they're destroying older people on fixed incomes. It's crazy business, folks. It truly is. When I first got here, you could buy a trailer for $20,000. Now they're $200,000. $200,000 just for the trailer. But if you don't own the lot underneath in the park, they can sell the park out from under you. You're fucked. Anyways, thank you, Big Dan. Yeah, I always have a great deal of concern for the elderly, the boomers, my parents, your parents, the boomers. They worked their asses off. They paid all of their taxes. They made 50 cents an hour for decades, and they saved their 50 cents an hour paychecks after paying taxes, after paying Social Security, after paying unemployment, after paying workman's comp, after paying for Social Security disability, after paying for Medicare, after paying for Medicaid, after paying all of that, they managed to save just enough to afford to live in a fucking trailer. And now they can't even do that. All right, Mr. Uman, let's continue. It's the It is Sunday Night Live. It's the zoo. Share the internet address. Be sure and thumbs up. If you want to comment, you got to be a subscriber. So subscribe down below, 5 minutes, and then you can comment. D-Horse is back with a 1022 super chat. And for those of you who don't know, the 1022 is a Ruger 22 caliber rifle. Probably, in my opinion, not only is it the most prolific 22, but the most reliable and good shooting 22. He says, can I adjust my W-4s, that's taxes, so I am no longer paying a federal income tax since I didn't formally approve for my hard-earned tax dollars to go to fraudulent Somali daycares and healthcare providers? Let me tell you this, Mr. Diorce, half man, half Diorce, half deer, half horse. It's a lot of halves. We now have taxation without representation in this country. 70% of America want the illegals the fuck out of here. We voted and put Trump in office. We have a Republican Senate and a Republican House of Representatives, but they're still giving money, medicine, clothing, housing, food, transportation to these illegals. I didn't vote for that. And the 70% of Americans, that includes Democrats, want them out. We didn't vote for. So if we've got taxation without representation, I think there's a page in here in the Declaration of Independence about that. That was one of the big, shall we say, battle cries of the American Revolution, was being taxed and not having any representation. Over in jolly old England, how much worse is it that in our own country, at our own nation's capital, does the legislative, judicial, and executive branches say fuck you to 70% of America? Now, here's the deal. Stop paying taxes. The IRS has an administrative, unconstitutional court hearing whereby you don't have legal representation nor constitutional protections. They can garnish your wages. Like it or not. They'll go to your fucking employer and say, we understand he works here. We understand they made an adjustment, but we want our tax money from this fucking guy. They can go and they can steal your house. They can lien your house and have a lien sale and kick you out of your own fucking house because you haven't paid a government that doesn't give an absolute squirt of piss for you the money they demand with a gun in your face. That's right, gun in your face. You don't get out of the house, they'll shoot you. They want your car, they'll take it. They want your bank account, they'll seize it. You got a retirement fund, they'll fucking take it. The only way to protect your money, folks, is to turn dollars into gold and silver. That's it. That's the only way. And then to keep it in your own hand. Because if you don't hold it, you don't own it. The bank, hell, even without the fucking IRS, the bank can take your money. It's an unsecured loan, meaning they don't have to give you your fucking money back. What they do have to do, and what they do have to honor, though, is a negotiable instrument that's drawn up under the Uniform Commercial Code. And I know this is kind of a tangent on a tangent. You get an instrument from one bank that gives money from that former bank to the new bank. The old bank cannot deny that instrument under the Uniform Commercial Code. Because now it's a bank versus a bank, not you versus a bank, trying to get your money out in the form of cash. So an ACH, a fucking cashier's check, any instrument they have to honor. Enough of that shit. Enough about commercial code. Dior's, thank you, sir. Let's move on if we shall. I'm getting thirsty out here. Feeling a little dry. We got Big Dan the Man back again with a $2 super chat. And he says, John, you need a friggin' haircut. I know. I've been waiting for you to fucking say something. Damn it. Look, I've got a fucked up knee, a fucked up ankle, a fucked up midsection with 3 holes cut in it. I've got a fucked up set of ribs where the cartilage and the fucking muscle is torn. And I got a fucked up fucking shoulder. I just haven't had any fucking time to get over and get my hair cut because it's literally limping everywhere I go. That's coming to an end, Big Dan. My knee is not fucked up this week after the weekend of rest. My ankle is probably halfway recovered so I can walk. The other surgery areas are doing better. My ribs only hurt half the time and my shoulder only 25% of the time. I will get a haircut this week. I go, but I do appreciate getting my chain pulled. I've got a sense of humor. Love it. All right. Man, who else is up here? We've got Do Stuff with Nikki with a $30 super chat. She says, we will never get anywhere if we keep up with this left-right paradigm, meaning Republicans and Democrats, the Democrats, Republicans. It's a fake fight. And she says it's an illusion of choice mentality, taxes, which is legalized theft, media, indoctrination, to where no one will ever fight again. Oh, and laws, those pesky opinions of politicians backed by the nearest threat of force. That is really well written, Nikki. Brevity is the soul of wit. All these laws are that we know to be unconstitutional. Nikki calls them pesky opinions of politicians backed by the threat of force. I know when a law is right and proper. I know when the government is acting properly. When the government says we will not go and investigate, arrest, prosecute, and hang by their fucking necks people that are willing to kidnap children, rape children, murder children, and eat children. They have the threat of force to protect them against you so that they can continue to do just those things. So Nikki also says people forgot how to be human, to have true morals, and how to really fight. Well, that's where leadership by example comes in. And I think we'll start seeing it very soon, Nikki. Thank you for the great super chat, by the way. And also the medical advice, which isn't medical advice, but rather how to take care of yourself, John. Thank you for that, Nikki. But how to really fight. You can't go to a child and ask a child how to fight. The first time I punched somebody in the nose, folks, I was 4 years old. 4 years old, I punched another kid in the nose and it bled because that kid was picking on another kid. And I didn't think it was right. 4 years old, I knew what right and wrong was and how to fight and defend someone who's weaker and smaller. Do you fucking understand that? I know you do. I know I do. We all understand that. But at a 4-year-old, I didn't understand consequences of standing up for the rights of someone else. I just knew to do it. I now understand consequences, which is why I don't go out on a daily basis punching everyone that's an asshole in their fucking nose, even though they deserve it. They've earned it. But as described at the beginning of this video, and I really hope you share the internet address and tell friends, family, loved ones, co-workers, watch this video if you want to fucking see where we're at today, how close we are to massive violence, and why they need to be prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and means of self-defense. Understand, folks, that people that have fought as a career, and this will include some law enforcement, that know the difference between right and wrong and go, you know what, fuck it, we don't care. We're going to enforce the law. We know who the bad guys are. We're going to go get them. There's a scene in the movie The Untouchables with Sean Connery. And in this scene is also Elliot Ness and a Treasury geek and Andy Garcia as a young man. And they go, okay, we got to stop these bootleggers. And they go outside the police building across the street to the fucking post office. And Sean Connery goes, we all know where the crimes are being committed. It's just, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to do everything it takes to stop it, to fight it, to go to war with these people, knowing that everyone's going to get fucking shot and killed? And they kicked that door open, and that was the start, right, of this battle with bootleggers. Now, drinking, I'm all for it. And I really believe that prohibition, the law against alcohol in this country was an unconstitutional criminal act by the fucking government. Now, that said, right, the point still stands. You know when someone's doing something wrong, whether you're police or veterans or just regular people. We know what's right and what needs to be done. And at some point, someone's going to say that's enough, and you're going to kick the door open, and the problems are going to get fixed. And it will be bloody, and it will be mess, and it will be ugly, and it won't smell very nice, and people will be scared. People will be terrorized, but enough is a fucking enough. Okay, thank you, Nikki. Mr. Uman, where are we going next? And it's Courageous Cat with a $50 super chat donation. And I love cats. I think cats are pretty fucking cool. I've had many cats in my life. Right? And there we are. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Courageous Cat, for the $50 super chat donation. I don't know if you've got something to say, something you want to add, but I appreciate your enthusiasm. And Uman says nothing. He just looks parched. I am parched. Thank you, Courageous Cat. Semper Fi, bottoms up, folks. Here is to all that is good, moral, decent, and right. Here's to the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. Here's to good people doing what's right, to bad people who have it coming. The time will come. Be prepared. Semper Fi, Prost, God bless, down the hatch, salute. Oh, yeah. Mother's milk. Good golly. Cracked Egg says one issue is that everyone lives in a screen-based reality. What people see on their TV, computer, or phone is the basis of their individual truth. That's true. We all live, and it's not even the tablet and the phone and the computer screens and the laptops. It's not even that. Cracked Eggs, I'll take it even further. Your eyes and your ears. 95% of the information we take in is our eyes. Anywhere, depending on your person, it's a little less, and your ears are anywhere from 5 to 20% of the information we take in. See and hear, see and hear. It is through our eyes, not the screens themselves, but our eyes that our body, our soul functions and exists. And we act through these biomechanical machines called our bodies. We take in information off of screens and phones, but also coworkers, friends, and family. What we see on the street. We see police, we see firemen, we see ambulances. We see politicians if you're engaged in local political matters or state political matters or even national political matters. We see it. But the basis of that truth, if the computer says this is true and real, this is moral and right, that comes to our eyes. We hear it in speech, but that doesn't mean we believe it, because this is how we take in information. We know if something's right or wrong because we have a moral foundation, a moral compass, if you want to call it that is established and set based on reality. If you're basing your belief system on what you're told, you're a fucking Democrat, because they'll read their phone and this week something is wrong, but next week the very same thing is right. So week one, Democrats see that Immigration and Customs Enforcement is enforcing the fucking border, and they're removing people that are unsafe because they're law-breaking illegals. And that's wrong, says the Democrats, because they read it on their phone, and their phone tells them it's wrong. And then you come over to week two with Democrats, and they read on their phone that up in Minneapolis, Democrats are stopping cars and telling people that if they're Republicans or they work for the government, that they're wrong and bad and that they should be removed. And now that is right. So one week, removing the bad people is wrong. The next week, doing the exact same things to a different group of people is right. The phone is telling what they're right because they have no moral compass. They have no souls. They're morons. Uman says video clips are mostly lies by omission. That's correct. Not just video clips, but audio. Not just audio and video, but newspapers and television. They tell you what they want you to hear so that you believe them, and they hope to appeal to your, if you have one, a moral filter, an intellectual filter. They hope to fool you with propaganda, which is why I say everything is propaganda. They omit, they add, they lie in order to trick you into supporting them and what they want you to believe. I don't buy that shit. I don't believe that. I run everything through the filter of John because I know what's right and wrong. I've done lots of wrong, my friends. I am not pretending to be Jesus or anything like Jesus. I am, by my very nature as a human being, faulty. But I know what's wrong when I've done it. As a kid, I threw eggs at other people's property. Very wrong. Very guilty. Bad John. I drank alcohol before I was 21 years old. Bad, bad, bad. But I didn't, folks, absolutely destroy someone's car with a baseball bat and think it was fine. I didn't beat the ever-loving shit out of people because I could and I was in a position of power and authority over them and get away. Nope, didn't do those things, right? Yeah. Mikey G says complete AI bullshit. Of course. Also, yeah, AI video, AI audio, AI pictures. Remember this, folks. They could come and arrest me, you, Uman, your cousins, your brothers, your moms, your dads, your children. They could plant information on their computers and then go to the world and say they're evil. Look at what we found on their computers. They're Nazis. Right? Well, they're pedophiles. Oh, that's wrong. How dare Mr. Philip Q. Public have pictures of children on your computer? You are a bad guy. You're going to jail. It's like, well, wait a minute. Aren't you going to go and arrest the other pedophiles that don't just have pictures, but actually kidnapped and raped and murdered and fucking ate children? Oh, that's fine. That's fine. But Philip Q. Public is not allowed. Yeah, complete AI bullshit. Planting evidence. They did it to the January 6th protesters. Government has always planted information. They're fucking liars. So, I know who the good people are and I know who the bad people are. I think we all do. Anyways, we're at the end of the show. Do we have more super chats? What are we talking about, Uman? What's coming up next? And it's Blue Cord Devil. Holy crap. $57.62. That's a $50 super chat. Plus a 762, which is, well, 762 is the 308 round in the military, but it's the NATO designation. Thank you for the great caliber and super chat donation. And he says, peace and prayers, John. Jolene, Uman, and everyone else, watch your six. Stay calm, stay armed, and if I may, stay thirsty, my friends. Another Glenfiddich 18. I got to tell you, you guys have supported the channel. Your super chats pay for the spam, the tuna fish, but more importantly, they pay for the preparedmind.club. They pay for the lights. They keep the lights on. They keep our subscriptions going so I can continue to get all of this relevant information and keep it top of mind to share with you when it's appropriate. God bless America. God protect us, our Constitution, our culture, our lives. Whether you're black, white, Asian, Native, Hispanic, I don't give a shit. If you love freedom, liberty, and you're a good person, we all need to be blessed and protected. That was a good one. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. Folks, I don't know. I've got a lot. Thank you, Blue Cord. It's warming me up good. There's so much to talk about that I didn't get to talk about. The government being hypocritical, the mounds of trash in New York City, the protests in Iran, the woke idiot Olympians that we're paying for, the potential civil war in Spain as well as other countries, the anti-white racism that is on the loose, literally on the loose. It is overwhelming the country. A Chinese-born Texas Democrat representative, his name is Gene Wu, is pissed off everyone on social media because he had a horrific, alarming anti-white statement that has come back up for everyone to realize and look at. He says that Asians, blacks, all minorities, anyone who's not white can gang up and take control of government. We need to take away everything that the whites have to make it fair. Fairness. Fairness is a communist term, folks, when it's applied in politics. This Mr. Wu wants fairness. Fairness means stealing the property and wealth of others in communism. Fairness also means genocide. They killed 60 million Christians in Russia when the communists took over. So Democrats, racists everywhere, want to kill whites. I, for one, am done with this fucking game. When the shooting starts, I will demonstrate the ratio of what one of them can do compared to a trained military rifle expert who understands his enemy and is prepared to confront them, compared to these retarded communist dumbfucks out here who don't know shit. I'm ready, and as described, these veterans are ready. These sportsmen are ready. These Americans are ready as well. Try me. Try everyone, Democrats. And a note to communists everywhere. There are way more black, Hispanic, and Asian conservatives than you guys know. And we're all going to be ready when the time comes. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Semper Fi, I'll see you all week long. Don't lose heart. Understand the time is going to come, and the tree of liberty is going to be watered with the blood of both tyrants and saints. We will not get through this unscathed, folks, but we can get back to freedom and liberty in our constitutional republic. And those that are in charge that think they're above it all, that they can hide in their holes, in their underground bases, that they've got enough protection, we'll find out. And holy cow, we got G-Man checking in with a $50 super chat. And he says, have another one on me, you freaking ginger. It's our painkiller of choice. We'll keep it straight during the work week. All right, G-Man, thank you. I don't know who G-Man is, but I've known a lot of G-Men. I've known a lot. I think everyone probably knows what that means. G-Man, thank you. And it's good to be what I am, and it's good to have all of you here being what you are. God bless. Semper Fi. It's all about the Declaration, folks. The Constitution. Everything that's right and good about America. I can feel it. I can feel the medicine working. Thank you, G-Dog. Everyone else, God bless you too. I'll see you later.